Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our Federal Innovation Through Prize Competitions webinar series with our friends from the U.S. Agency for International Development, also known as USAID. My name is Laura. I am a contractor with Challenge.gov. To increase accessibility and inclusivity, I'll share a little bit about myself. I have medium blonde hair. I am wearing a pink shirt, and I am joining you from Birmingham, Alabama, where I wish it were cooler fall weather. With me today are my Challenge.gov teammates, Jara Metter, the director of Challenge.gov, and Kat Kemp, Quinn Slayton, and Phil Beloka. Our special guests from USAID today are Meredith Perry, Ike Singletary, and Cassie Hoffman. Some meeting logistics. This event is being recorded. A live link captioning for this event is provided in the chat, or you can click the CC button at the bottom of your screen. You're encouraged to ask questions by clicking on the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. You can use Zoom chat for any comments. By voluntarily attending this event, you agree to abide by the TTS Code of Conduct. A link will be provided in the chat. And we ask that you please leave the meeting if you do not agree to abide by this Code of Conduct. I'll hand it over to Jara Metter for a Challenge.gov overview.
Thanks so much, Laura. And thanks to all of you for joining us today for this wonderful webinar. So I'm Jara Metter. I'm the director of Challenge.gov at the General Services Administration. Challenge.gov is in a division called the Technology Transformation Services, and our mission is to create a digital government for and with the American people. To increase inclusivity, I'll share that my pronouns are she, her. I have shoulder-length brown hair. I'm a white female. I'm wearing glasses today and a red and brown sweater, and I am joining you from my home in San Antonio, Texas. Today, we're having the third webinar in a four-part webinar series, and we're calling this series the Federal Innovation Through Prize Competitions series. And this series explores how different federal agencies are using prize competitions and challenges to drive innovation and to address important challenges, solve important problems, and critical initiatives that align with the mission of their agency. At each webinar, you'll hear a different story about how agencies are using different open innovation approaches to design, deliver, and scale prize competitions. And if you've missed any of the previous webinars, we encourage you to watch the recordings, and we'll add a link to those in the chat. Today, our special guests are from the U.S. Agency for International Development, also known as USAID or USAID. Kind of depends on your preference with that. This webinar is really personal and special to me because over a dozen years ago, I got my start in the federal government working at USAID and working alongside Meredith Perry, one of the presenters here today. I know well the very thoughtful approach that USAID takes to deploying, developing open innovation practices. So it's really a pleasure to host USAID. So now I'd like to introduce the USAID speakers for today. Meredith Perry is a senior advisor for innovation competitions for the exploratory programs and innovation competitions team within the innovation division in the Bureau of Inclusive Growth, Partnerships, and Innovation. She identifies, formulates, and spearheads open innovation tools to source creative approaches to reducing global poverty and improving human well-being. Ike Singletary II is a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army who is currently working within the exploratory programs and innovation competitions team at USAID's Bureau for Inclusive Growth, Partnership, and Innovation as part of the DoD Interagency Fellowship Program. Cassie Hoffman is an innovation advisor and program analyst on the exploratory programs and innovation competitions team at USAID. Cassie advises USAID missions and teams around the world on deploying open innovation tools and incentive-based design to improve how we achieve development outcomes. And now it's my privilege and pleasure to turn it over to the USAID team.
Thank you, Jared, for the introductions. Next slide, please. We also would like to thank Challenge.gov for hosting this webinar, and thank you to everyone attending virtually. Meredith, Cassie, and I are extremely excited to discuss how USA leverages prize competitions to foster innovation and solve complex problems. Next slide, please. Next slide. As you already see, wonderful pictures of the team here. Next slide. To understand how USAID utilizes prize competitions, we wanted to first showcase the agency's mission and vision, in that it reinforces our objective to support partners to become self-reliant and capable of leading their own development journeys. We made progress towards this by reducing the reach of conflict, preventing the spread of pandemic disease, and counteracting the drivers of violence, instability, transnational crime, and other security threats. We promote American prosperity through investments that expand markets for U.S. exports, create a level playing field for U.S. businesses, and support more stable, resilient, and democratic societies. We stand with people when disaster strikes or crisis emerges as the world leader in humanitarian assistance, all provided with assistance from the American people. Next slide, please. We truly have a global reach as we operate in and have programs on every continent except Antarctica. This has allowed us to create an extensive public and private sector network to continue building upon our localization efforts that we'll discuss throughout today's webinar. Next slide, please. USAID's area of responsibility includes things that are the subject of the entire US government departments and agencies. We're tackling health, education, the environment, energy, trade, and much more. And as a result, innovation is also federated at USAID. And there are innovation teams within the Bureau of Democracy, Human Rights and Governance, Humanitarian Affairs, Global Health and Resilience, Environment, and Food Security, as well as special innovation functions within our General Counsel and Acquisitions and Assistance team. Lastly, we also have an innovation division within the Bureau of Inclusive Growth, Partnership, and Innovation. And this is the team that Meredith, Cassie, and I are on. And what makes our team, the Exploratory Programs and Innovation Competitions team, special is that we're empowered to coordinate and work across the agency on any subject. Next slide, please. And this leads me to innovations at USAID. Next slide. You may be asking, why do you need an innovation division if you have innovation teams throughout the agency? Which is the same question I had prior to starting my fellowship. And the answer is simple. It goes back to USAID's mission and values in saving lives, reducing poverty, strengthening democratic governance, and helping people emerge from humanitarian crisis and progress beyond assistance. These are all accomplished through the Innovation Division's core values, where we recognize innovation doesn't occur in a vacuum. We always aim to be extremely collaborative as we engage talented, creative people to solve some of the world's toughest and complex challenges. We leverage the promise of innovation, incentives, and evidence to bring about positive change and solve these challenges. We also use evidence to identify and refine the most promising solutions and provide additional support only to innovation that prove their impact, their cost effectiveness, and potential to scale. Next slide, please. As mentioned, we're members of the Exploratory Programs and Innovation Competitions team, or EPIC, in the Bureau for Inclusive Growth, Partnerships, and Innovations at USAID, where we work with missions bureaus, offices, and external partners to help them meet their development objectives through the use of open innovation competitions, programs, and related approaches. We also monitor progress towards development objectives and capture lessons learned to apply to future programming, continuing to iterate on what works in open innovation approaches and what doesn't, and exploring new ways to apply open innovation methods around the world. Next slide, please. So what does this all mean in practice? EPIC acts like a consultancy or advisor to USA missions in that we connect them to the best practices, providers, and processes designed to incentivize and accelerate solutions from new, local, non-traditional, and private sector partners where they work. The open innovation process starts with framing the problem that our mission bureau's independent offices, or MBIO, is facing. We strive to center the affected population needs, desires, and experiences through research and building a deep understanding of the problem. This allows us to help our MBIOs to hone in on desired impacts that are audacious yet achievable. While defining the problem, we push our MBIOs to embrace uncertainty and become more comfortable with not always knowing the answer. We employ radically inclusive and user-friendly solicitation process. We can issue light touch solicitations that are available in solvers' preferred languages and require light lift to respond, such as a short written response or a WhatsApp video. We're open to solvers, including individuals and informal, unregistered organizations. And in many cases, forgo a lot of the administrative requirements like SAM, UEI, and extensive grant reporting that could be highly burdensome to first-time recipients of USAID awards. And we're also empowered to use authorities outside of acquisitions and assistance, and we'll discuss that more throughout the webinar as well. And then we leverage incentives, evidence, and partnerships to position winners with local investors and stakeholders for sustainability. Through our open innovation competitions, 81% of our past prize winners are local. Next slide, please. At USAID, we have a growing track record of using open innovation competition to spur innovation to address development challenges and support localization objectives. We're proud to say we've not only been able to learn a lot, but also achieve quite a bit as well. Next slide. Open innovation competition at USAID began with the launch of our first open innovation challenge, the Development 2.0 Challenge in 2008. And this competition sought to identify mobile technology solutions for development, impact across health, banking, education, agriculture, and trade. And then in 2011, we launched our first Grand Challenge, the Saving Lives at Birth Grand Challenge. And since 2011, we've partnered on 12 other Grand Challenges. Then in 2015, Congress gave us a prize authority, the Innovation Incentive Award Authority, that applies to USAID Direct Awards. Currently, we're moving towards doing more competitions in close one-to-one collaboration with missions, rather than global programs. Even our large global headquarters-based competitions, such as Water and Energy for Food Grand Challenges, are working more at the local level through targeted regional innovation hubs that tailor calls for innovations and technical assistance offering to the local context. Next slide, please. Open innovation competition plays a pivotal role in modernizing USAID by seeking effective and efficient ways to do business and equipping USAID with a new set of tools to tackle complex, multifaceted global developmental issues. In the private sector, open innovation is considered instrumental by companies to invest in thought leadership and solutions that propel businesses forward while managing investment risks, testing applicability of solutions, and accelerating and scaling innovations. Today, 38% of the leading 200 companies have an internal strategy investing in open innovations. And we do competition because solutions funded through our competitions often attract additional follow-on investments or are acquired. For example, in our Grand Challenge portfolio, an additional $1 billion was catalyzed. Competition are focused on supporting sustainability of solutions. Approximately 80% of all solutions are locally owned and operated. This helps us as an agency focus on building local capacity, building new partners to development, and creating sustainable pathways towards growth. And finally, competitions unlock procurement reform. On average, we are able to deliver awards within 6 to 9 months, if not sooner. We do this through lowering the bar to entry by easing the application process and simplifying it for new solvers, building in milestones to ensure risk levels are manageable, and more. Next slide, please. Included in our portfolio are challenges and grant challenges, which are designed to find broad range of solutions, make awards, and support the development of these solutions that respond to a well-defined challenge statement. By contrast, prizes are designed to reward the achievement of specific outcomes and allow USAID to pay only for success and eliminate the need to predict which approach might succeed. Hackathons are very truncated events that may aim to develop solutions in a time-limited fashions, anywhere between 24 hours to 2 weeks. In all competitions, we start with a problem identification process with the objective to engage a wide range of stakeholders, including end customers or beneficiaries to ensure we are honing in on the right problem. We then put a call out for innovation, offering incentives to apply. These calls can be focused globally, regionally, or be country or group specific. From that point, depending on the competition type, the process diverges as to when awards are provided and when solutions are tested and accelerated. Next slide, please. To increase our competition marketing and outreach, we use plain language or remove a lot of the government jargon in our local language outreach. We conduct webinars with innovators where they can reach us in real time. We also hold workshops for honing applications either before the deadline or with a short list of competitors. Next slide, please. And to support our mission bureaus and independent offices, we have 2 training options that we can conduct. One is conducted virtually, and you're able to receive one continuous learning point. And then we have a more in-depth innovation competition boot camp that we can conducted in person or virtually over the course of 2 to 5 days and receive 16 continuous learning points. And the cool thing about this boot camp is that we are able to tailor the training to specific problem need that the organization is looking to answer. And then we have a buy-in mechanism, our innovative design, execution, and acceleration support, or ideas mechanism. And we'll discuss that more in the following slide. Now, to support our innovators, EPIC, along with our buy-in mechanism consortium partners, use a handful of tools to deliver awards to local change makers through open innovation competitions. And then outside of acquisition assistance, we can also disperse awards using the Innovation Incentive Award Authority to bypass some of the process. And lastly, regardless of award type, we typically build competitions so that they include non-financial support, like technical assistance, mentorship opportunities, and opportunities for publicity and visibility to strengthen all participating innovations, not just those that win. Next slide, please. As mentioned in the previous slide, our own buy-in mechanism, the innovative design, execution, and acceleration support, or ideas, is a transformative buy-in mechanism designed to help us in the following areas. And you'll see the link to a fact sheet on ideas in the chat box. Again, the local context, they're great at doing local research. They help us assist us with obtaining some local vendors, local expertise, and the local language, so we get able to use that plain language. Ideas can do grants under contract. We understand that grants can be time consuming. And then they also assist with aggregating learning, process management efficiencies, and providers to provide both situational and domain-wide expertise. Next slide, please. EPIC has worked across many sectors and topics, including health, agriculture, energy, complex emergencies, water, education, and civil society. And what's most exciting is that over the $1.69 billion invested in these solutions, only $154 million come from USAID, and then $534 million came from donor partners. The rest came from outside vendors. Next slide. The next two slides will showcase some recent prizes and challenges we conducted, starting with the Mombasa Plastic Prize. And so faced with 37,000 tons of plastic pollution from Kenya leaking into the ocean each year, USAID and the government of Canada turned to youth entrepreneurs to help protect the environment and save tourism. And the transformative thing about this prize is that it put youth at the forefront of tackling the challenge of marine plastic waste. Working alongside the Mombasa County government and established businesses across the county, within 2 years, youth teams from the informal sector went from having a good idea to becoming entrepreneurs and formal local USA partners that created 545 jobs. Moreover, the Mombasa County government has become a partner in the effort and is both supporting the two highest performing businesses and hosts future rounds of the prize. Next slide. And then the Small and Medium-Sized Enterprise Activity, or SMEA, Challenge Fund for Tech and Innovation. And so Pakistan recognized that despite small and medium enterprises comprising more than 90% of its 5 million businesses, small medium enterprises accounted for only 35% of total value added and 30% of export earnings. Low productivity, small medium enterprises had trouble integrating into global value chains, as well as women businesses face specific constraints, including isolation, lack of access to education, finance and technology, and limited mobility. And the transformative thing that resulted from this challenge was it led to Pakistan reforming their policies, laws, and regulations, with the crowning achievement occurring in 2021 when they reformed their small medium enterprise policy that was initially drafted and published in 2007. And this policy reformation resulted in public and private stakeholders having a uniform definition of small and medium enterprises, which enabled them to target enterprises for interventions according to their size. Next slide, please. I will now turn this session over to Cassie to discuss our award authorities.
Thanks so much, Ike, for that overview and run through our process and some examples. So now I want to talk a little bit about the Innovation Incentive Award Authority, which admittedly this section might be a little wonky or nuts and boltsy for folks, but I do think it helps illustrate how this congressional authority, kind of the opportunities and limitations it offers the agency for achieving our overall mission and goals and objectives around localization and achieving development outcomes, but also gives a picture for anyone who might be interested in partnering with us as far as what we can and can't do. So next slide. So since 2016, so this is a relatively new authority, but since 2016, Congress has authorized USAID to make innovation incentive awards. These are also known as prizes. While most US government agencies use the America Competes Authority, which I'll detail a little bit in a bit, USAID either uses grant-making authority or its own innovation incentive award authority to invest in innovation. So this this authority is used to incentivize local innovators, entrepreneurs, and organizations around the world to improve how we do development work through an unlimited number of prize awards that we can give out every year, assuming there's funding, of up to $500,000 each. These awards, as defined by Congress, either encourage and award the development of solutions to well-defined problems related to the alleviation of poverty, and/or identify and promote the development of promising ideas and practices, especially those that may already be under development or in the market, something akin to the Nobel Peace Prize. We also give like recognition prizes. So next slide. So the Innovation Incentive Award, like I said, are prizes and part of our, broader open innovation pay for results toolbox that I kind of gave an overview for. But Innovation Incentive Awards and prizes specifically incentivize participants to solve a specific challenge in global development through cash awards, allow the best solution to emerge rather than relying on ex-ante predictions or prescribing what we think is the solution, make direct payments to individuals, organizations, and foreign nationals, which is not always the case. There are limitations for, making grants to individuals, and quickly respond to urgent and emergent needs by sourcing hyper-local solutions and responses in less time than a typical procurement. So next slide. Oh, and the EPIC team is the custodian of the, no, you can go to the next slide, it's fine. The EPIC team is the custodian for the authority in the agency. We promote it, we teach people about it. We also report on it to Congress. So we're kind of the through point for anyone who wants to use Innovation Incentive Awards. So what if you want to use this an Innovation Incentive Award authority if you're at USAID or another agency? So first of all, you need to be willing to make awards of $500,000 or less. We can make multiple awards up to this amount. Actually, we can make unlimited a number of awards up to this amount, but no greater than $500,000. The Innovation Incentive Awards must be issued directly by USAID. They can't go through an implementing partner or any other agency. So sometimes transfers are made to USAID directly to make these types of payments. Third, there must be a clear measurable criteria at the start of the prize competition on which to make the awards. So they must be competitive, and they cannot be used to make awards to predetermined solvers. Solvers also must be able to work at risk since they will be investing their own resources to achieve the prize outcome and competing at risk. And they're not necessarily guaranteed an award at the end. That said, we typically do try to design prize competitions to mitigate solvers' risks, given that some of these are less resourced organizations. But we do this by ensuring that the incentives are right-sized and appropriate for the competition, offering seed funding when it's available, and also providing technical assistance and mentorship. So unlike a grant or a contract, when we run a competition or a prize specifically, there is no formal agreement between USAID and prize competitors. So, as we said previously, competitors compete at their own risk. And competitors can also stop participating in the competition at any time without any penalty. And USAID cannot impose reporting requirements or regulations over how the prize winnings will be spent after the award. So assuming they reach the prize target or meet the requirements of the prize and win it and receive the award, USAID no longer has any authority over how those funds are used. And then lastly, we do some light touch reporting. So we ask anyone who partners or works with us on using the Innovation Incentive Award to help with this reporting. And we do typically follow up with prize winners with optional surveys to see how their work is progressing and evolving after winning a prize. So next slide. So this slide breaks down the differences between the America Competes, this broader U.S. government prize authority, and the Innovation Incentive Award Authority. So despite major advantages vis-a-vis award sizes, with Competes being up to 50 million, and the Innovation Incentive Award having a 500K limit, which American Competes only applies only to American entities, which doesn't really frequently meet our needs as an international development organization. And as a result, we tend to use the Innovation Incentive Award over the America Competes Authority, while continuing to advocate for increases in this, the limits to the overall prize amount. Next slide. So some of the benefits of the Innovation Incentive Awards for USAID. One, it enables us to make awards to talented individuals, including foreign nationals and organizations capable of achieving the results USAID needs. So one thing to note is that we just need a bank account for funds to transfer. So these individuals and organizations can be informal or unregistered. This is good not just for our localization efforts, but also for scenarios where we might be working with political dissidents. Secondly, this authority streamlines USAID procurement practices. The Innovation Incentive Award Authority basically pays for services rendered. It reduces the amount of paperwork required on the USAID side and also reduces management burdens for USAID and implementing partners. So because this authority is neither acquisitions or assistance, so it's not grants or contracts, which is how USAID typically works, but rather payment for prior results, the prize awards may be made under the authority do not require prospective grants management or oversight. Next slide. But there are also benefits for the prize winners who receive Innovation Incentive Awards. And usually there are mutual benefits for USAID and winners. And an interview with the grand prize winners of the Fall Army Worm Tech Prize, one of our past competitions, actually said they prefer competing for prizes because prizes let them develop their product and solution on their own terms, as well as work towards objectives that USAID has laid out. And Adam Willis, the co-founder of the grand prize winner of the Fall Army Worm Tech Prize from Farm Inc., explained, this is basically like unrestricted funding that is a critical innovation and donor support to early stage efforts, particularly involving new technologies. This is because the most successful stories will inevitably explore opportunities and challenges that weren't in the plan. Without this intelligent affordance, a funder runs the risk of unintentionally hamstringing a potentially game-changing product or service. And I think anyone who's worked in tech and doing like iterative tech adaptations and designs knows that like having some flexibility and funding can go a long way. Innovation Incentive Awards also increase openness to collaborating with USAID, which I guess also mutually beneficial to USAID and people who want to participate in prizes. And we see more participation from private sector companies and universities. When competing for prizes, companies and universities can retain their intellectual property rights and are not required to provide the federal government with non-exclusive licenses, which is frequently the case in grants and contracts because the Innovation Incentive Award Authority is neither acquisitions or assistance and therefore exists outside of the FAR, the Federal Acquisitions Regulations. Additionally, USAID does not require this grant reporting or negotiate budgets, and frequently we can run into difficult budgeting scenarios with universities with high overhead rates. So that can kind of be bypassed and avoided. And lastly, this simplifies the award process. The Innovation Incentive Award Authority doesn't Innovation Incentive Authority winners or prize winners do not have to register with SAM, DUNS, DEI, or these other grantee requirements because the gender and environmental compliance requirements are embedded in the terms of the prize terms. If a team competes, they are already considered to have demonstrated the gender and environmental compliance. So we're not necessarily bypassing the gender or environmental compliance, but it's kind of baked into the prize competition terms. And lastly, winners, like we said, just the award is a simple transfer to their bank funds. So next slide. Just to kind of our last piece here, to just share a few of our open innovation competitions, the ones that are live and open and receiving applications right now, both to demonstrate the types of competitions that we support, but also if there's anyone who's interested in applying or knows someone who might be interested to apply. So next slide. We have currently opened the FIRE Grand Challenge. This was launched in August of 2024. The FIRE Grand Challenge is an open call for solutions that combine cutting-edge innovation and technology with local expertise to revolutionize our approach with fire management. Its implementation will focus on the Amazon rainforest, Western North America, and Southeast Asia, with the current open call focusing on Western North America. The Fire Grand Challenge was launched in partnership with the Gordon and Betty Moore Foundation and is being implemented by Conservation X Labs. I think it's open till the beginning of December, and the challenge funds available are up to $630,000. So next slide. Currently open as well as the locally led humanitarian assistance prize competition. The locally led humanitarian assistance prize competition, it's a mouthful, aims to recognize transformative work and innovative practices in local leadership by women-led organizations and women's rights organizations working on humanitarian issues in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Guatemala, Haiti, Iraq, Mali, and Ukraine. And this is a recognition prize. The prize competition is funded by the USAID's Bureau for Humanitarian Assistance and was designed and is being implemented in partnership with Epic and Ideas. The competition offers one grand prize of $250,000 and 5 additional prize awards worth $150,000. There's some recognition and publicity that comes with this, but there is also sensitivities to organizations that might not want that type of publicity or are in sensitive environments. Next slide. And we also have the Creating Hope in Conflict, a humanitarian grand challenge. This is an open call looking for groundbreaking, sustainable, and local solutions to pressing issues affecting communities touched by conflict. Supports innovators who have achieved proof of concept with evidence that showcases the effectiveness and feasibility of their project. And funding amounts range from $300,000 to 1.5 million Canadian dollars, and also comes with other support and assistance in a 12 to 24 month support program. So next slide. And I think so just to end, I wanted to give a shout out to all of my colleagues on the EPIC team. This is our talented and dedicated team of advisors, experts, and administrative staff. We're always open and available to advise, partner, and collaborate on open innovation competitions. We take ad hoc calls, and we also work closely with USAID missions and other agencies in the US government. In the past, we partnered with the Department of Interior, Department of Agriculture, Department of Energy, NASA, State Department, Millennium Challenge Corporation, basically kind of the wide remit and all the different sectors that we work in that I kind of highlighted at the top: energy, environment, education, health, means that we're open to partnering with a lot of different groups. And last slide. And that is all we have to share with you today. And we thank you so much for your attention. Meredith, Ike, and I are here to answer questions and chat with you all. But you can also reach out to us at epic@usaid.gov. It goes to our whole team. And we're happy to take your questions or hear from you via email. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks so much, Cassie and Ike. I really enjoyed the presentation, especially the deep dive into the Innovation Incentive Award Authority. It's really unique. I love how it unencumbers innovators and really brings innovation to bear. While my teammate Kat Kemp is preparing questions from the Q&A from the audience to serve up to you, I'm going to ask a question. Can you give an example of how you determined that a challenge or a grand challenge was the right approach to solving a problem?
Sure. I'll talk a little bit about personal experience as a implementing partner, working or really designing and delivering the Artisanal Mining Grand Challenge, which I guess in USA terms was a challenge, not a grand challenge. But in the Artisanal Mining Grand Challenge, was seeking solutions to make artisanal and small scale mining in the Amazon more environmentally responsible and socially equitable. This is an activity that a lot of people undertake for, income and social or income. It's complicated social reasons that people engage in gold mining, but also has serious impacts on human health. Mercury is frequently used in the process, can lead to deforestation, loss of wildlife. And we started the work on this challenge or this competition, by really doing a lot of research, consultations with government, also communities affected by the problem, with miners themselves. And this included, site visits, desk research, really trying to get an understanding, really what were the current barriers in the problem, I should say, like along the supply chain of gold, but also what was possible and kind of what the current landscape of innovations and where the state of innovation was at the time. And this was working with USAID Peru and the Amazon Regional Environment Program. And I think at the time, it was originally designed as a challenge because it is a complex issue. And honestly, there's like a lot of opportunities for innovation from, how the mining takes place and the reduction of mercury use, and then on through the supply chain and traceability, trackability, and even how the process is made more formal and legalized through the support of the government as well. So it's both like a complex problem with a lot of opportunities for leveraging new solutions and innovation. And so we wanted to support a portfolio of solutions and really like open up the problem to, I think, a lot of people and especially local solvers on the grounds. We did end up actually also including a prize component with the understanding that we requested prototypes of solutions. And the prize component was an opportunity to kind of benchmark the finalists and offer them funding. We'll offer prizes to those teams that could best improve their benchmarks around the technical capabilities of their solution, kind of like demonstrated market demand and the environmental performance. Potential environmental performance, since these were prototypes. So we also used a prize component to really push the teams to kind of move the specific development of their solutions along the way. So it was a little bit of a combo, but hopefully that demonstrates like both why we wanted a challenge in a portfolio of solutions for a complex problem, but also use the prize component to really push solutions like along their like specific development paths.
I love that. I really love the kind of incentive science that is deployed as part of your prize competition to really, it kind of differentiates how this model is different from a traditional grant or a traditional contract. I mean, with a prize competition, you have that flexibility for a dynamic incentive that creates equity in performance for your solvers. So I love that. With that, I'm going to hand it over to my teammate, Kat, to bring forward the audience questions.
Wonderful. Thanks, Jara. Thank you, Cassie and Ike, and thank you, Meredith, for being here today and sharing important information about challenges, prizes, grand challenges, hackathons at USAID. Hi, everyone. My name is Kat Kemp. I'm a contractor with the General Services Administration at Challenge.gov. I have a chin-length brown hair today. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm wearing a black top with a silver necklace. We're in the audience Q&A portion of our chat. If you haven't already, I encourage you to go to the bottom of your screen and click to open the Q&A box and be able to submit your questions. Also note that the answered tab in that Q&A box has responses to a number of questions. Thanks primarily to Meredith for responding during the presentation. So we are going to get started with some questions that were submitted in registration. And I know, Cassie, you went through about the different prize authority that USAID uses when it comes to who is eligible to participate in your prize competitions. But we did have a number of questions related to eligibility, both from the audience here as well as in registration. So can you underscore our prize competitions and challenges through USAID open to non-permanent residents, and can a foreign non-US company participate in these opportunities?
Hi, Jared. Or sorry, Kat. Thank you for that question. I think I'll if you don't mind, I would like to answer that for Cassie at the moment. So for non-permanent residents, eligibility is really determined on a competition by competition basis. But many prizes in the past have been open to non-permanent residents. And as mentioned, we're always looking to work with with the local population in our competitions. And really, it depends on the purpose of the target audience and applicants, and then the requirements of those prizes. So what I would recommend and just encourage everyone just to read the eligibility requirements closely for each of the prizes, because we would detail exactly where we're looking at for the applicants. But again, we are very astute on collaborating with local vendors, any type of local competitor. And I'll open up for Meredith or Cassie if they have any more to put on it.
Well, since we're talking about those who submit and eligibility, we also had a number of questions around outreach and engagement. A couple of them came through at the Q&A chat. So perhaps one of you could give an example of how do you promote these opportunities in local communities and find those local solutions, and encourage, how do people find out about these opportunities to be able to share their ideas? Meredith, I'll turn to you first.
Sure. So the first thing that we do is we really research who might be prospective solvers. So who is already working in the space, how we can connect with them, what languages they speak, what communities they're part of, and so to do this based on that analysis, we always work in partnership with our USAID communicators. There are USAID communicators both at headquarters and dedicated communicators at missions. But depending on how the specific solvers we're trying to track down interact with the world, we might work with a marketing firm to find them, or we sometimes make posts via social media. And we do a lot of research about whether we find people via WhatsApp groups or via Instagram or via LinkedIn communities. We also often work in partnership with other like-minded partners in this space. So the the Countering Transnational Corruption Grand Challenge, which I mentioned in some of the questions, they also have partners who are experts in the anti-corruption and accountability space. And so they reach out to and promote competitions via their networks. So we work closely with outreach partners. We have a dedicated list of individuals and organizations as part of that outreach process. So sometimes we send people emails, either encouraging them to apply or to share things along with their networks. And finally, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that we often post our challenges and prizes via Challenge.gov. So you can frequently find us there as well. I should also note we have a LinkedIn community of practice, and you are welcome to find us there. If you look in one of my answers to the questions, you can also find our LinkedIn community of practice, where we frequently post about open competitions that we have that are ongoing.
Fantastic. Thank you, Meredith. Another question that came in through registration is talking about priority areas now to find solutions. So USAID covers a wide range of topic areas. So the question is, what are some of your top priorities that you are seeking for finding solutions?
I can take that one. Our competitions and solutions that we're seeking, is really driven a lot by the problems or the competitions that are brought to us by the missions, primarily by the USAID missions, and so tend to be, country or regional or locally specific. And we have had a lot of competitions in things like migration and countering corruption and climate change. But we did recap those competitions that are currently open, that I think highlights, best some of the things we're most interested in. The Fire Grant Challenge, being innovations in technology to improve fire management. The recognition prize for locally led humanitarian efforts and women's rights organizations, and scaling up solutions that work in complex spaces. And additionally, we do have, I think things come up a lot honestly in agriculture and climate, and our team manages something called the Water and Energy for Food. I guess is it called a challenge or is it just a program? But we frequently make calls for innovations, and I think there's one coming open soon, and I think we have a plastics how to combat plastics, both plastics waste and the proliferation of plastics in our ecosystems. So those, I think that's kind of a broad overview of both where the priorities come from and what's open now.
That's great. Thank you, Cassie. Another question that came in through the Q&A is about the different types of technologies that have been identified or been addressed through challenges with USAID. So can you give some examples of technology challenges that served USAID? For example, challenges in web development, mobile app development, data, etc.
Sure, I can happily field this one. This is Meredith Perry for those of you listening in. So almost all USAID competitions tend to have a technology component, but some more explicitly so than others. And so, for example, there have been challenges that are looking at improving maternal and child health that might have apps around fetal monitoring, but it's open to all sorts of interventions, including non-technological innovations. Of the competitions that USAID has hosted that specifically center technology, some of the ones that we're especially proud of are the intelligent forecasting competition. This was a competition looking to explore how intelligent forecasting models and machine learning perform relative to USAID's historical data and ways of tracking USAID's health supply chains. So basically, we wanted to see if forecasting methods outperform the way that USAID has typically delivered health commodities like family planning supplies to health clinics. And it turns out that they do. Another competition that we recently ran was the Equitable AI Challenge. And this challenge was really looking at how, as artificial intelligence proliferates, it has a tendency to emphasize inequality in the models that it uses. And so what are proactive interventions that we can identify that help promote equality or mitigate inequality? And so you can learn more in the link at Equitable AI. One of the things that I think is really interesting coming out of that challenge is that there's actually an AI resource guide for public servants in both English and Spanish that talks about how people implementing programs using AI can use AI and make sure that they're being responsive to gender bias. Other technology programs that we've deployed have been in the agriculture space, both the Fall Armyworm Tech Prize and the Data Driven Farming Prize. These programs are really interested in how we can use digital innovation to help smallholder farmers either protect against an invasive pest or to receive better data-driven information. As I said, this is just a subset of technology-focused programming. For example, the Artisanal Mining Grant Challenge that Cassie worked on had technology interventions, including apps that helped communities identify the sourcing and tracing of where gold came from. And so we are open to technology solutions, even if a challenge or a prize itself may not say technology in its title. We are also open to non-technology solutions as well. Not everything is tech. One of my favorite innovations that has come over the years has been kangaroo care, which is literally putting newborn babies on the birth parent's chest. There's no technology involved in that. That's just doing business differently. And that is part of what our team advocates for, is just what are effective ways to do business differently. Next question.
Well, thank you, Meredith. And we are coming up to the top of the hour. So I want to send a special thank you to Meredith, Ike, and Cassie, our colleagues from USAID, and to everyone for joining us today. A recording of this event will be posted on Challenge.gov's event page. And if you'd like a copy of the slides, please send an email to team@challenge.gov. Our next webinar in the series is coming up on December 11th. We will be meeting with NASA. And we encourage you to check the links that my colleague Phil is dropping in the chat. Send us a response to our survey, help us know how we can improve these events, and encourage you to sign up to the Challenge.gov newsletter to learn more about prizes and competitions and stay up to date on all the Challenge.gov happenings. With that, we'll say thank you and have a great evening.
So glad to talk to all of you. Please don't hesitate to be in touch.